9 things men shouldn't do to themselves in love. Psychological tricks. Welcome to our channel, Stoicism Win, where you find interesting and useful wisdom from the Stoic philosophers to help you live a happy, steady, and meaningful life. As the Stoic thinker Epictetus reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. That truth matters deeply in love, in relationships, and in every human connection. We often give a great deal to the people we care about. We offer our time, our energy, our loyalty, and our heart to show how much they matter to us. But sometimes that kindness is not honored. Instead, it is used. Some people appear warm and attentive only when they need something. Then, once they get what they want, they disappear as quickly as a bird taking flight. That kind of experience can leave a man confused, disappointed, and drained. So the real question is this: how do you take back control, protect your peace, and move through relationships with wisdom instead of pain? Today, we are going to explore 9 things men shouldn't do to themselves in love, guided by timeless Stoic philosophy. These are not rules rooted in bitterness. They are principles rooted in self-respect, clarity, and inner strength. When you stop making these 9 mistakes, you begin to see change. You think more clearly. You feel stronger, and your relationships start to reflect a healthier balance. So, if you have been facing struggles in your relationship, or if you simply want to become wiser and more grounded in the way you deal with women, sit down, open your mind, and walk with us through this powerful lesson. And before we begin, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming reflections. Now, let's dive in. Number 1. Don't push friends or family away for someone else. This is one of the most overlooked psychology tricks when it comes to relationships, and yet it quietly determines whether your connection will grow or collapse over time. When a man becomes deeply involved with a woman, it's easy to narrow his world down to just her. It feels intense, exciting, almost like nothing else matters. But don't fall into that trap. Don't slowly disappear from your own life just to be fully present in hers. That is not love. That is imbalance. And imbalance always comes with a price. Think of your life like a strong tree. Your friends, your family, your long-term connections are the roots and branches that keep you standing tall. When you start cutting those off, one by one, just to prove devotion or avoid conflict, you are not strengthening the relationship, you are weakening yourself. And a weakened man cannot sustain a healthy connection, no matter how strong the attraction seems at first. In female psychology, attraction is not just about how much attention you give, but about the life you bring into the relationship. A man who has strong friendships, meaningful family ties, and a grounded social circle signals stability, confidence, and self-respect. That is what draws a woman in on a deeper level. But when you abandon all of that, when you isolate yourself and make her your only focus, something subtle begins to shift. The energy changes. What once felt attractive now feels heavy. What once felt exciting now feels pressured. This is one of those hidden psychology tricks most men don't realize. They think giving more of themselves will create love, but in reality, it often creates imbalance, and imbalance quietly erodes attraction. Don't misunderstand this. Caring deeply is not the problem. Wanting to spend time together is not the problem. But losing yourself is. Be a man who adds someone into his life, not a man who replaces his life for someone. That is a crucial distinction if you want to understand how to fall in love in a healthy, grounded way. Love should expand your world, not shrink it. It should give you more reasons to grow, not fewer. When you maintain your connections, when you stay present with the people who have stood by you long before this relationship began, you are sending a powerful message, not just to her, but to yourself. I value what is real. I respect what has lasted. I don't abandon my foundation. There's a quiet wisdom in what Plato once said: people are like soil. They can nourish you or stunt your growth. Think about that carefully. Your friends and family, the ones who have been there through your struggles, your growth, your victories and failures, they are part of the soil that shaped you. They helped you become the man you are today. So why would you suddenly turn your back on that just because something new feels exciting? Don't trade depth for intensity. Don't trade stability for temporary emotion. Be aware. That is one of the most important psychology tricks you can apply in your life. And here's something even deeper. When you isolate yourself for a relationship, you unintentionally place emotional pressure on that relationship to fulfill every need you have. That is too much weight for any connection to carry. No woman, no matter how amazing she is, can replace your entire world. When she becomes your only source of validation, companionship, and support, the relationship stops feeling free and starts feeling like a responsibility. And responsibility, when it becomes too heavy, often leads to distance. This is why understanding female psychology matters so much. Attraction thrives in space, in balance, in the presence of a full and meaningful life, not in emotional dependence. So, what should you do instead? Rekindle your relationships. Reach out to the people you've been neglecting. Spend time with your friends. Call your family. Show up. Not because you have to, but because you choose to. That choice reflects strength. That choice reflects self-awareness. And that is incredibly attractive. When a woman sees that you have a life beyond her, that you are connected, grounded, and supported, she doesn't feel less important. She feels safer. She feels like she's part of something stable, not the center of something fragile. If you truly want to understand how to fall in love the right way, remember this. Love is not about sacrificing your entire world for someone else. It's about building something meaningful while staying rooted in who you are. Don't abandon your foundation. Strengthen it. Don't isolate yourself. Expand your life. Because the stronger your life is, the stronger your relationship will be. And that is one of the most powerful psychology tricks you can carry with you, not just in love, but in life. Number 2, don't reveal everything about your past. Your past is not just a collection of memories. It is a sacred archive of who you've been, what you've survived, and how you became the man you are today. It holds your lessons, your scars, your victories. And because of that, not everyone deserves full access to it. You must understand this clearly. Transparency is not the same as exposure. Being open does not mean being unguarded. Many men make this mistake. They believe that sharing everything, especially the painful parts, will create connection. They think it shows honesty, depth, even trust. And yes, there is a place for vulnerability. But there is also timing. There is also discernment. And most importantly, there are boundaries. When you reveal too much too soon, you don't create intimacy, you create imbalance. You hand over pieces of yourself that haven't yet been earned. That is not strength. That is misplacement of trust. A high-value man knows that trust is built over time, not given away in the first chapter. Be honest, yes, but be measured. That is the difference. Your past, especially the painful parts, carries emotional weight. Old wounds don't disappear just because you talk about them. Sometimes, speaking too freely can reopen them. It can pull you back into emotions you've worked hard to rise above. And worse, if you share those parts with someone who hasn't proven their emotional maturity, you risk having those vulnerabilities misunderstood or even used against you later. Don't rush to tell your whole story. Let people earn it. There's a quiet power in mystery. Not the kind that plays games, but the kind that shows self-respect. When you don't feel the need to explain every detail of your life, you communicate something deeper. I value myself. I don't need validation through oversharing. That is attractive. That is grounded. That is masculine energy in its calmest, most confident form. Understand this. Women are naturally drawn to depth, not exposure. Depth is revealed over time. It unfolds. It invites curiosity. When you give everything away at once, there is no journey left to explore. And more importantly, you remove the opportunity for her to earn your trust step by step. Don't confuse silence with hiding. You are not hiding your past, you are protecting it. There is a difference between saying, I've been through some things that shaped me, and laying out every painful detail before a connection is even formed. The first shows strength. The second often signals a need for validation or emotional unloading. Be careful with that. A high-value man processes his past. He learns from it, but he doesn't use every conversation as a place to relive it. You must also recognize that not everyone has the capacity to hold your story with care. Some people listen to understand. Others listen to judge. Others listen to gain leverage. You don't always know which one you're dealing with, especially early on. So don't take that risk lightly. Be selective. That is not cold, it is wise. And here's something deeper. When you constantly talk about your past pain, you anchor yourself to it. You reinforce it as part of your identity. But growth requires a shift. It requires you to move forward, not circle back endlessly. Your story matters, yes, but who you are becoming matters more. So instead of leading with your past, lead with your presence. Be the man who stands grounded in the present moment. The man who doesn't need to explain his value, he lives it. The man whose actions speak louder than old stories. That is how you truly attract women, not through emotional exposure, but through emotional stability. When the time is right, when trust has been built, when the connection has proven itself, then you can open up. And when you do, it will carry weight. It will be received with respect. It will deepen the bond instead of overwhelming it. But until then, protect your story. Don't feel pressured to share everything just to seem real or deep. Real depth is not in how much you say, it's in what you choose to hold and when you choose to release it. That is discipline. That is emotional intelligence. That is masculine energy expressed through control and awareness. And remember this, your life story belongs to you. You are not obligated to explain your past to anyone who hasn't shown they deserve that level of access. You are not required to revisit painful chapters just to make someone else feel closer to you. You choose what to share. You choose when. You choose how. Be calm. Be selective. Be intentional. That is how a high-value man moves. And if this hit you, drop a comment right now. My past shaped me, but it doesn't define me. Don't give away your story to those who haven't earned it. Be a high-value man. Protect your peace. That is how you build real masculine energy, and that is how you attract women without losing yourself. Like the video, subscribe for more sharp, timeless wisdom, and remember, not everything about you is for everyone. Number 3, don't reshape your life to fit others. Listen to that again. Don't do it. Reshape your life to fit others. Because the moment you start bending your path to satisfy someone else's expectations, you stop living, you start performing. Imagine trying to build a puzzle with pieces that don't belong together. You force them. You press harder. You waste time. And still, nothing fits. That quiet frustration you feel? That's your soul telling you something is off. As Seneca once said, everywhere means nowhere. When you try to be everything for everyone, you become nothing to yourself. This is not strength. This is confusion dressed as kindness. And in modern life, it shows up everywhere. Men changing careers they once loved just to meet expectations, suppressing their opinions to keep peace, shaping their personality just to be accepted. Stop. This is not how a man builds an iron mind. This is how a man loses himself piece by piece, slowly, quietly, until one day he wakes up and doesn't recognize the life he's living. You must understand this clearly. Respect is never built on imitation. Attraction is never built on pretending. A high-value man, yes, a man grounded in old Stoic wisdom, does not chase approval. He commands it by being unapologetically himself. That is Stoicism win. That is power. You don't blend in like a chameleon. You stand firm like a mountain. You don't adjust your core to fit the room. You let the room adjust to your presence. Because when you constantly reshape yourself, you send one dangerous message to the world: I am negotiable. And people will treat you exactly that way. Think about it. If you abandon your values to keep someone, what exactly are they staying for? Not you. A version of you. A temporary mask. And masks don't last. Sooner or later, they crack. Sooner or later, resentment builds. And when it does, everything collapses. That's why old Stoic wisdom teaches discipline of identity. Know who you are. Decide what you stand for. Hold that line. No matter who comes. No matter who leaves. Because the right people don't require you to shrink. They recognize you when you stand tall. Be clear. Be grounded. Be unwavering. This is how you build an iron mind. You don't ask, how do I fit in? You ask, does this align with who I am? That question alone will change your life. It will filter your decisions. It will protect your peace. It will save you from years of regret. In today's world, where everyone is trying to impress, to please, to adapt, your refusal to conform becomes your greatest advantage. That is Stoicism win in action. Quiet strength, silent confidence, no need for validation. And here's the truth most men avoid: the more you try to be liked by everyone, the less you are respected by anyone. Because respect comes from consistency, from clarity, from conviction. People may not always agree with you, but they will know where you stand. And that certainty is powerful. That certainty is attractive. That certainty is rare. So don't apologize for your path. Don't dilute your voice. Don't reshape your life to make others comfortable. Comfort is not your mission. Growth is. Purpose is. Mastery is. As another Stoic principle reminds us, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Simple, direct, unbreakable. That's the mindset of an iron mind. Let your life be your own story, not edited by fear, not directed by approval, written by you, line by line, choice by choice. Because in the end, no one else has to live with the consequences of your decisions. You do. So take control, stand firm, walk your path with intention. And remember this: when you stop reshaping yourself for others, you finally begin shaping your life for real. That is old Stoic wisdom. That is Stoicism win. That is how a man becomes unshakable. Number 4. Don't ruin your life by becoming obsessed with someone. Number 4. Don't ruin your life by becoming obsessed with someone, because the moment your world starts orbiting around another person, you slowly drift away from yourself, and that is where the real loss begins. Don't become a satellite in someone else's sky, endlessly circling, waiting, adjusting, shrinking. Be your own center, your own gravity, because when you study psychology tricks and understand female psychology, you realize attraction grows from presence, not desperation, from direction, not dependency, and never from losing yourself just to keep someone else. Don't wake up thinking only about them. Don't plan your days around their moods. Don't measure your worth by their attention, because that is how a man quietly abandons his own life while still breathing in it. The truth is simple: when you neglect your own purpose, you don't become more lovable. You become less grounded, less steady, less real. Be a man with a path, with goals that demand your energy, because a life filled with purpose naturally attracts. It never chases. And that is one of the most powerful psychology tricks you must understand if you truly want to know how to fall in love without losing your identity. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, nowhere can a man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. That is not just philosophy. That is instruction. Return to yourself. Build your inner world so strong that no external attachment can shake it. Don't confuse attachment with love, because obsession is not devotion. It is imbalance. It is when your peace depends on someone else's presence, when your happiness becomes fragile, when your confidence rises and falls based on their attention, and that is a dangerous place to live. Be aware, female psychology responds to stability, to a man who is present but not consumed, caring but not controlled, invested but never lost, because when you lose yourself, the connection loses its foundation. And what felt intense at first slowly becomes heavy, suffocating, unsustainable. Don't abandon your hobbies, your friendships, your discipline just to prove your feelings, because real value is shown through consistency in your own life, not through sacrifice of everything you are. Be disciplined, set boundaries, protect your time, protect your energy, because these are not walls. They are signs of self-respect, and self-respect is the quiet force behind attraction. Understand this clearly if you want to master psychology tricks and truly learn how to fall in love the right way. The more you invest in your own growth, the more naturally people are drawn to you, not because you chase them, but because you stand firm in who you are. Don't become emotionally dependent, waiting for messages, overanalyzing silence, adjusting your behavior just to keep someone interested, because that is not connection. That is self-abandonment disguised as care. Be calm. Be centered. Be the man whose life continues moving forward no matter who walks in or out, because that kind of presence creates respect, and respect is the foundation of any lasting bond. When you understand female psychology at a deeper level, you realize that attraction is not built on constant availability, but on a balanced rhythm, space and closeness, independence and connection. If you remove that balance by making someone your entire world, the dynamic collapses. Don't forget your dreams, your ambitions, your purpose, because those are not optional parts of your life. They are the core of who you are, and when you abandon them, you don't just lose direction, you lose yourself. Be the lead in your own story, not a background character waiting for approval, because your life is not meant to revolve around someone else's narrative. It is meant to expand, to grow, to evolve with or without anyone beside you. That is the mindset that creates real attraction, real respect, and real connection, and that is how you apply psychology tricks, understand female psychology, and truly discover how to fall in love without ever losing the most important person in your life: yourself. If this message hits you, don't just listen, act on it. Take your life back. Refocus on your purpose. Because the moment you stop orbiting someone else is the moment you start becoming the man you were meant to be. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, your greatest strength is found within, not in losing yourself to someone else. Drop a comment right now to lock this into your mind. I am the center of my own life. Like, subscribe, and share this with a man who needs to hear it, because real power begins when you choose yourself. Number 5. Don't be controlled by the fear of solitude. Making decisions out of fear, especially the quiet, creeping fear of being alone, is like walking blindly in the dark, hoping you won't stumble, yet almost guaranteeing that you will. Fear clouds judgment. Fear rushes choices. Fear makes you settle for what is available instead of what is right. Don't do that. Don't let the silence of an empty room push you into the noise of the wrong company. That is how men lose direction. That is how a man slowly forgets who he is. Solitude is not your enemy. It never was. The real danger is misunderstanding it. Solitude is not loneliness. Loneliness is the pain of disconnection. Solitude is the power of connection with yourself. And as Aristotle once said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. That is not just philosophy. That is instruction. That is a command for any man who wants clarity in life and strength in relationships. If you don't know yourself, you will keep choosing people who confuse you, drain you, and pull you away from your purpose. Be still. Be comfortable in your own presence. A high-value man is not afraid to sit alone with his thoughts. He does not run from silence. He uses it. He sharpens himself in it. Because when you truly understand yourself, your values, your boundaries, your direction, you stop chasing validation. You stop needing constant attention. You stop bending just to keep someone around. That is when you begin to naturally attract women, not through effort, but through presence. That is masculine energy at its core, calm, grounded, and self-sufficient. Don't confuse companionship with necessity. Wanting someone is human. Needing someone to feel complete is dangerous. When fear drives your decisions, you tolerate things you shouldn't. You ignore red flags. You lower your standards. You say yes when everything inside you is whispering no. That is not love. That is fear wearing a mask. And over time, that fear will cost you your peace, your focus, and your self-respect. Be the man who chooses, not the man who clings. There is a difference. A high-value man does not stay because he is afraid to leave. He stays because he sees value, alignment, and mutual respect. He walks away when those things are missing, even if it means being alone for a while. That is strength. That is discipline. That is how you protect your time, your energy, and your future. Spend time with yourself, not as an escape, but as a practice. Learn what excites you. Learn what drains you. Learn what you stand for. Build routines that strengthen your mind and body. Listen, reflect, train, create. Sit in silence without reaching for distractions. Because every moment you invest in understanding yourself builds a foundation that no one can shake. And from that foundation, your masculine energy becomes undeniable. It becomes steady. It becomes attractive without trying. When you no longer fear solitude, something powerful happens. You stop chasing. You start selecting. You stop reacting emotionally. You start responding with clarity. You stop seeking approval. You start living by your own standards. And ironically, that is when you begin to attract women who respect you, who value your presence, and who meet you at your level, not because you needed them, but because you chose them. Don't rush into relationships just to avoid being alone. Rushed connections often lead to slow regrets. Take your time, observe, understand. Let people reveal who they are. And most importantly, make sure you are clear about who you are. Because when two people come together from a place of strength, not fear, the connection is different. It is calmer. It is deeper. It is real. Be patient with solitude. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. That's normal. You are facing parts of yourself you may have ignored for years. But stay there. Sit with it. Grow through it. Because on the other side of that discomfort is clarity. And on the other side of clarity is confidence. The kind of confidence that doesn't need to prove anything. The kind that naturally attracts women without words, without games, without pressure. You must understand this. Being alone for a period of time is not a loss. It is preparation. It is where you rebuild. It is where you realign. It is where you become the man you are meant to be. And when you reach that point, you won't fear solitude anymore. You will respect it. You will protect it. Because you will know that your strength was forged there. So don't let fear make your choices. Don't let loneliness dictate your standards. Be the man who stands firm, even in silence. Be the man who chooses from strength, not from emptiness. Because when you master solitude, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, everything else, love, respect, connection, begins to fall into place naturally. Number 6. Don't forget to celebrate even the smallest wins. Number 6. Don't forget to celebrate even the smallest wins, because the man who ignores his own progress slowly trains himself to feel empty, no matter how far he goes. And that is a quiet danger in modern life where everything moves fast. Everything is compared, and nothing ever seems enough. You must understand this clearly. If you only celebrate the final result, you will spend most of your life feeling like you are losing. That is not strength. That is self-neglect disguised as ambition. As Epictetus wisely said, never depend on the admiration of others, and that includes waiting for the world to clap before you allow yourself to feel proud. Don't do that. Don't delay your sense of worth. Be the man who recognizes his own effort, even when no one is watching. Be the man who says, I showed up today. I improved today. That is enough for now. That is old Stoic wisdom, and it is as powerful today as it was centuries ago. In a world obsessed with big wins, promotions, money, recognition, you must train your iron mind to notice the quiet victories. Waking up early when you didn't feel like it, staying calm in a difficult conversation, choosing discipline over distraction, walking away from what no longer serves you. These are not small things. These are foundations. These are the daily proofs that you are becoming a better man. And if you ignore them, you weaken your own sense of identity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and if your thoughts constantly say, 'It's not enough,' then nothing will ever be enough." That is why you must celebrate progress, not perfection. Not loudly, not arrogantly, but quietly with clarity and self-respect. Stoicism win is not about chasing endless validation. It is about building a life where your standards come from within, not from the noise outside. Think about modern relationships. Many men lose themselves because they are chasing approval, trying to impress, trying to prove, trying to be seen. And in that chase, they forget to recognize their own growth. Don't do that. A man who cannot appreciate his own journey will always feel behind, always feel inadequate, even when he is doing well. That energy leaks into everything, into how he speaks, how he loves, how he carries himself. But when you practice old Stoic wisdom, when you acknowledge each step forward, you build quiet confidence. You stop chasing. You start leading. You stop needing validation. You start embodying value. That is Stoicism win in action. That is how an iron mind is built, not through one big victory, but through thousands of small, consistent acknowledgments of effort. Be disciplined enough to notice your progress. Be wise enough to value it. Be strong enough to continue. And understand this. Celebrating small wins is not complacency. It is fuel. It is reinforcement. It tells your mind this direction is right. Keep going. Without that reinforcement, motivation fades. Discipline becomes heavy. Life feels like a burden instead of a path. But when you recognize your effort, even in small ways, you create momentum. You create energy. You create belief. And belief is what carries you through the hard days. So don't wait for the big moment. Don't wait until everything is perfect. That day may never come. Instead, build a habit of quiet recognition. Finished a task you've been avoiding? That matters. Stayed patient when you could have reacted? That matters. Took one step toward your goal? That matters. Say it to yourself. Good. Keep going. Short. Clear. Powerful. That is how an iron mind speaks. And over time, these moments stack. They compound. They transform you. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to respect yourself. And that changes everything: how you walk, how you talk, how you connect with others. People feel it. Not because you tell them, but because you carry yourself differently. That is the reward of practicing old Stoic wisdom. That is Stoicism when in real life. So remember this instruction and make it non-negotiable. Don't overlook your progress. Don't dismiss your effort. Don't wait for permission to feel proud. You must become the man who sees his own value clearly, calmly, and consistently. Because in the end, life is not just about reaching the destination. It is about who you become along the way. And every small win is evidence that you are moving forward, that you are evolving, that you are building something real. Respect that. Honor that. Continue that. If you've heard this far, understand this. True strength is built from small moments that most people overlook. Most men wait for big wins to feel proud. They miss the truth. Progress is strength. Discipline is strength. As Epictetus taught, your worth is not measured by applause, but by your own standards. So, start acknowledging your victories, no matter how small. That's how you build solid self-confidence. Now, take action. Don't just watch, commit. Comment below and make it a reality. I celebrate my progress and I build strength one step at a time. Number 7. Don't let anything harm your mental health or happiness. Don't trade your peace for approval. Don't sacrifice your clarity just to keep someone else comfortable. That is a losing deal every single time. A man who understands life knows this. Your mind is your foundation. If that cracks, everything else follows. When you constantly put someone else's emotions above your own well-being, you slowly disconnect from yourself. You stop thinking clearly. You stop acting with purpose. You begin reacting instead of leading your own life. It's like walking through darkness after handing someone else your only light. You move, but without direction, without confidence, without control. And here's the truth most men ignore. This has nothing to do with love and everything to do with imbalance. Real connection, real understanding of female psychology never requires you to abandon yourself. In fact, the more grounded and centered you are, the more attractive you naturally become. That is one of the deepest psychology tricks most people overlook. People are drawn to those who are emotionally stable, not those who are constantly sacrificing themselves. Don't misunderstand this. Caring is important. Showing up matters. But losing yourself? That is where the damage begins. When your happiness depends entirely on another person, you give away your power. You become reactive. You become anxious. You begin overthinking every message, every silence, every small change. That is not strength. That is emotional dependency dressed up as affection. And the longer you stay in that state, the more your identity fades. You forget your goals. You neglect your growth. You ignore your own needs. That is how men slowly lose themselves without even realizing it. Be aware. Be conscious. Be disciplined with your emotional energy. Because once your inner peace is disturbed long enough, it becomes your new normal, and that is dangerous. You must understand this clearly. Protecting your mental health is not selfish. It is necessary. It is your responsibility. A man who cannot protect his own peace cannot build anything meaningful, neither in relationships nor in life. The strongest men are not the ones who endure endless emotional chaos. They are the ones who know when to step back, when to pause, When to say, this is not good for me. That is not weakness. That is clarity. That is self respect. And ironically, that is exactly what aligns with how to fall in love in a healthy, lasting way. Because love is not built on sacrifice alone, it is built on balance, on mutual respect, on emotional stability. Without that, everything becomes fragile. Look deeper into female psychology and you'll see something powerful. People, especially women, feel safer and more connected to someone who is emotionally grounded. Someone who does not panic. Someone who does not lose control when things get difficult. Someone who has his own life, his own direction, his own sense of self. That is magnetic. That is rare. And that is built by protecting your inner world, not abandoning it. These are the real psychology tricks, not manipulation, not games, but mastering your own state of mind so well that you naturally create attraction without forcing anything. Don't let anyone guilt you into neglecting yourself. Don't let emotional pressure push you into sacrificing your peace. That is how resentment is born. That is how frustration builds. And over time, that silent pressure turns into emotional exhaustion. You feel drained. You feel lost. You feel like you're giving everything and getting nothing back. But the truth is, it started the moment you stopped choosing yourself. So choose again. Reclaim your focus. Reclaim your time. Reclaim your energy. Be intentional with your life. Be firm with your boundaries. That is not about pushing people away. It's about letting the right people stay. Because the right connection will never require you to damage your mental health to maintain it. Never. If it does, it's not alignment, it's imbalance. And no amount of effort can fix that if you keep ignoring yourself in the process. If you truly want to understand how to fall in love the right way, start here. Build a life where your happiness does not depend on another person's mood, attention, or validation. Build a mind that remains steady even when emotions rise. Build a routine that strengthens you mentally, physically, and emotionally. Because when you do that, you don't chase connection, you attract it. Naturally, effortlessly. That is the power of mastering yourself. And remember this, your joy is yours. Your peace is yours. Your mind is yours. No one has the right to take that from you unless you allow it. So don't allow it. Stand firm. Stay centered. Protect what matters. Because at the end of the day, everything you build, every relationship, every success, every moment of fulfillment will stand on the strength of your inner world. Guard it wisely. Number 8, don't be controlled by the fear of solitude. Don't let the silence scare you into making the wrong choices. Don't rush into someone's arms just because the night feels too quiet or the world seems too empty. That is how men lose direction, slowly, quietly, without even realizing it. Making decisions out of fear, especially the fear of being alone, is like walking blindly in the dark. You move, yes, but you don't know where you're going, and sooner or later, you stumble. Be aware of this. Be honest with yourself. You must understand that not every connection is meant to fill a void, and not every presence is meant to bring peace. Some people enter your life simply because you were afraid to stand alone, not because they truly belong there. Solitude is not your enemy. That is the truth most men never take the time to learn. Solitude is a mirror. It reflects who you really are when there is no distraction, no validation, no noise. And yes, it can feel uncomfortable at first. It can feel like sitting in a room with your own thoughts, your own doubts, your own unfinished battles. But that is exactly where growth begins. As Aristotle once said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. That is not just philosophy. That is instruction. That is a warning. If you don't know yourself, you will let others define you. If you don't enjoy your own company, you will depend on others to feel complete. And that dependence will cost you your freedom, your clarity, and your strength. Be the man who can sit alone and feel at peace. Be the man who does not need constant attention to feel valuable. That is what builds a high-value man. Not the noise, not the attention, not the endless chase. It is the quiet confidence of knowing who you are, what you stand for, and what you will never tolerate. When you are comfortable in solitude, you don't beg for connection, you choose it. And that is the difference. One comes from fear. The other comes from strength. Don't confuse loneliness with solitude. Loneliness is a craving. It is a hunger for something outside of you. Solitude, on the other hand, is power. It is the ability to stand on your own, grounded, calm, and in control. That is masculine energy at its core. Not loud, not desperate, but steady, unshaken. When you develop this kind of presence, you naturally attract women, not because you are chasing them, but because they can feel your independence. They can sense that you are not trying to fill a gap. You are already whole. Spend time with yourself, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. Ask yourself the hard questions. What do you truly want? What kind of life are you building? What kind of partner actually aligns with your values? These are not questions you answer in a crowded room or in constant distraction. These are answers you discover in stillness. You must learn to sit with your thoughts without running from them. That is where clarity lives. Don't jump into relationships just to escape silence. That silence is trying to teach you something. It is showing you where you need to grow, where you need to heal, where you need to become stronger. If you ignore it, you carry that unfinished work into every relationship, and it shows. It shows in your need for reassurance. It shows in your fear of losing someone. It shows in the way you compromise your values just to keep someone around. And over time, it drains your masculine energy and weakens your position. Be disciplined. Be patient. Building yourself in solitude is not easy, but it is necessary. This is where a high-value man is forged. In the moments when no one is watching. In the times when it would be easier to seek comfort in others, but you choose to stay focused on your own growth. That is where respect is built, first from within, then from the outside world. When you finally choose someone, let it be from a place of abundance, not scarcity. Let it be because they add to your life, not because you're afraid to be alone. That is how you create a healthy connection. That is how you attract women who respect you, who value your presence, who see your strength. Because you are not there out of need, you are there by choice. Remember this: a man who fears being alone will tolerate what he should walk away from. But a man who has mastered solitude will walk away from anything that does not align with his standards. That is power. Quiet, controlled, undeniable power. So don't run from solitude. Embrace it. Learn from it. Grow through it. Because in that space, you don't just find yourself, you build yourself into someone stronger, wiser, and far more grounded than before. And when you step back into the world, you don't just look for connection, you become the kind of man others are naturally drawn to. If this message speaks to you, don't just listen, act. Share it with someone who needs strength today, and subscribe for more wisdom that sharpens your mind and steadies your heart. Now, take a moment and anchor this truth within you. Comment this below: I choose connection from strength, not fear. I stand strong on my own. Number 9. Don't agree just to satisfy them. This is where many men quietly lose themselves, not in dramatic failure, but in small, repeated compromises that slowly drain their identity. Every time you say yes to something you don't believe in, every time you nod along just to keep the peace, you send a silent message to yourself first that your truth is negotiable, that your standards can bend, that your time, your energy, your direction can be traded for temporary approval. And that is a dangerous habit. Because once you start living for approval, you stop living with purpose. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And here is the deeper truth. Your thoughts shape your decisions, and your decisions shape your life. If your thinking is rooted in fear of rejection, you will act against your own interest. If your thinking is grounded in clarity and self-respect, you will act with strength. This is old Stoic wisdom. This is Stoicism when in real life. You must understand this clearly. Agreement is not kindness if it costs your integrity. It is not harmony if it requires you to abandon yourself. It is not love if it forces you to shrink. Stop people-pleasing. Stop negotiating with your own values. A man with an iron mind does not bend just because the moment feels uncomfortable. He stands, calm, certain, respectful but firm. In modern life, this shows up everywhere. In relationships where you say yes to plans you don't enjoy just to avoid conflict. In conversations where you hold back your real opinion to seem agreeable. in decisions where you follow someone else's path instead of your own. It feels easier in the moment, less friction, less tension, but over time, it builds quiet frustration. You feel it, that inner resistance, that sense that something is off. That is your truth asking to be heard, and you must listen, because the cost of ignoring it is always higher than the discomfort of speaking it. Do not misunderstand this. This is not about being harsh or difficult. It is about being aligned. Say no with clarity. Say yes with intention. That is power. That is control. That is the mark of a man who lives by old Stoic wisdom, not by emotional impulse. Epictetus taught, no man is free who is not master of himself. And what does mastery look like? It looks like choosing your responses instead of reacting out of fear. It looks like valuing your time enough to protect it. It looks like knowing that disagreement does not mean disconnection, it means honesty. And honesty builds respect. You are not here to perform. You are not here to entertain expectations. You are here to build a life that reflects who you truly are. Stoicism win is not about winning arguments, it is about winning yourself back. Again and again. Every time you choose truth over approval, you reinforce your identity. Every time you stand firm, you strengthen your iron mind. And here is the paradox. The more you stop trying to please, the more respect you earn. Because people trust consistency. They trust clarity. They trust someone who knows where he stands. So do not rush to agree. Pause. Think. Ask yourself, is this aligned with who I am? Does this move me forward? Does this respect my time, my energy, my values? If the answer is no, then your answer must also be no. Simple, clean, unapologetic. You don't need long explanations. You don't need to justify your boundaries. A calm, grounded response is enough. That doesn't work for me. I'm not interested in that. I prefer something else. That is strength without aggression. That is confidence without noise. And in a world where many men are afraid to stand alone, this becomes your advantage. Because you are not driven by fear of solitude, you are guided by clarity of purpose. You understand that being alone is better than being misaligned. You understand that short-term discomfort creates long-term freedom. And that is how you build an iron mind. That is how Stoicism win becomes more than a concept. It becomes your way of living. So remember this. Every agreement has a cost. Make sure it is not your identity. Every yes shapes your life. Make sure it is a conscious one. You are not here to be liked by everyone. You are here to be respected by yourself. And when you reach that point, when your actions match your values, when your words match your thoughts, you step into a different level of power. Quiet, stable, unshakable. That is the man who wins. Hey, my friend, I'm really glad you stayed all the way to the end of this video. Take a moment and think about this. Your life is shaped by the choices you make every single day, not by what others expect from you, not by fear, not by loneliness, but by your decisions. You have more control than you think. You always have. So don't give that power away. Build your life on something solid, your values, your discipline, your clarity. Focus on becoming a man who is calm under pressure, clear in his direction, and strong in his standards. That's where real confidence comes from. Remember this simple truth. You don't need to chase approval. You need to build yourself. Work on your mindset. Strengthen your character. Protect your peace. When you do that, everything else, respect, attraction, meaningful connection, comes naturally. So here's my honest advice to you. Stop acting out of fear. Stop compromising who you are just to keep someone. Choose strength. Choose self-respect. Choose growth. Every single time. If this message spoke to you, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear from you. Let's keep growing together. Stay present, stay disciplined, and walk your path with quiet strength.